system in place to keep us in chains. By show of hands, who else is sick and tired of the same? 1% trying to keep us small, trying to keep us from getting out. Minimizing the struggles they've caused, saying we're not working hard enough.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the thousands in attendance and for the millions watching at home, DCK Productions proudly brings to you the greatest podcast in the world! The greatest podcast in the world? Suck it. No, you suck it. No, you suck it. No, you suck it. No, you suck it. I appreciate it if you both suck it. Suck it!
We really should stop this fighting. Otherwise we'll miss the fireworks.
There won't be any fireworks.
And here we go. And welcome everybody to Suck It. I am the great and powerful King of Kings, Prince of all that is awesome, Derek. How the fuck is everybody tonight on this Tuesday, October 6th of the horrible year that has been 2020? Welcome everybody to this wonderful night that I hope to make, your night a little bit better, because that's what I aim to do, because I'm just that fucking awesome. And if you disagree with me, I don't give a shit. But anyway, again, I can't say this enough, man. Winter, or with the fall is here. Leaves are changing. It's so nice outside. The windows are open. It's just so beautiful. And I'm not going to let anything ruin that, because it's so close to the end of the year. Things are going well. So you know what? Hopefully with new seasons bring new change. And then the beginning of the year, more new stuff is going to happen. So we'll see how it goes. If not, oh well, fuck it. It can't get much worse, right? I just jinxed it, didn't I? Damn it. Oh well, fuck it. But tonight, we are here to have a little bit of fun. Because again, like 90% of all my guests, I got another musician with me tonight. And this guy is a rock artist, has a solo career, and he also has a band too. He mixes it up, likes to keep it fresh, keep it new. Been in the recording studio since the pandemic started. And now he's on my show. So I get to talk shit to him and have some fun. So without any further ado, please welcome to the show, Mr. Thomas Claxton. What's up, man?
What's going on, my friend? How are you?
You know what? I am fucking phenomenal. How about you?
I'm good. Good. Not too bad at all. Let's before we get started though, dude, we kind of got off to a sad start today, man. Eddie Van Halen, bro.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to mention that. Yeah. I mean, news broke about an hour or two ago. Yeah. Yeah,
man. This is that was a tough one for me, dude. That's the stuff I grew up on, so
me too.
It's tough, man. I hated losing Eddie like that. I mean, I knew that Eddie was going through his battle with, the throat cancer and everything, but still I was under the impression everything was getting better. So, not to start it off with a downer, but there you go.
Yeah, no. 2020 has taken so much from us, and now, it's taken Eddie. I mean, but you know what? He's going to live on forever. I mean, there's so many people that are influenced by him. I mean, look at, Sinister Gates of Avenged Sevenfold. I mean, that guy, even Slash, there's so many guitarists out there that have just modeled themselves after him. So, his sound and his, everything about him is going to live on forever. So, it's sad, but you know what? Luckily music lives on.
Oh, for sure, man. It's, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. This one's for 2020 and this one's for COVID-19. 100%. I mean, dude, the fact that 2020 took Neil Peart from me, from the world, that was hard enough. And then Eddie, man, I'm like, oh my God, just two of my heroes,
Yeah, I mean, arguably the best drummer and the best guitarist of the generation, both of them, and I can say arguably because you can make up points for other people as well. But yeah, I mean, the greatest drummer of the rock, of the last 40 years, and then the greatest guitarist of the last 40 years. I mean, shit.
Absolutely.
I mean, what's going to happen tomorrow?
I don't want to know, dude. I just don't. I'm totally to the point now where I'm just not even thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? If I can get through the day with just eating a cheeseburger and going to sleep, that I'm considering that a success.
Yeah, I mean, what I think we should do is I think you and I need to get together and just pull out our acoustics. I'll go grab mine right now. We need to record a cover song. Mine's blue.
Wow.
We need to record a cover song of When September Ends by Green Day, but we need to change it to When 2020 Ends.
I can deal with that.
Wake me up when 2020 ends. Because, the other day, September ended and we had to wake Green Day up. But you know what? Who wants to wake up on October 1st to this shit?
Dude, I'm telling you, like earlier in the year, I was like covering it's, End of the World by REM. And that's I think that's kind of appropriate. I mean, what's next,
Yeah, but I feel that song gave me too much comfort about the end of the world.
It kind of did. I mean, for such a sad, themed song. I mean, it's over. It's done. Let me make it as upbeat and peppy as I absolutely can. It's like, wow, that's, how the hell do you do that? I mean,
yeah.
You would think End of the World would be something like that Gary Jules version of Mad World. That's what I would think that should be slow like that.
So right now, me and my wife over the weekend, and we're still watching it now because we've been interrupted so many times by our daughter. This new show on Amazon Prime. It's called Utopia. And
I haven't seen it.
Oh well, I'm gonna warn everybody now. It is so creepy and weird how much it coincides with what's going on today. And it's so bad that at the beginning of every episode, there's a disclaimer. This does not, relate to any real world pandemic events because they're going through a pandemic. It's flu-like, and it's just really weird how it's good, but it's creepy. Like, how the fuck did last year, 2 years ago, did they write this show? And then all of a sudden, boom.
Well, what was the movie that everybody was watching when this first started? Was it like Outbreak?
No, it's actually a book, a comic book.
I'm saying that reminds me when the pandemic first started, everybody was watching Outbreak on Netflix. And I'm like, no, don't watch that. Don't watch that because that's like the worst case scenario.
No, I think World War Z or Dawn of the Dead would be a worst case scenario.
Dude, I'm telling you, bro, I might have too much fun with that shit.
That's what I've been saying.
Right, bro. If World War Z was real, I got it, bro. I got it. Those zombies ain't getting me. Look, dude, I was raised in Southeast Georgia. We handle business very differently down here. If a zombie comes running in my house, oh hell no.
Yeah, I mean, in the area you're at, I mean, they shoot the world's biggest zombie show, so I mean, might as well.
I mean, hey, look, see, Outbreak to me is worse. That's like scarier. Zombies would be funny, but Outbreak is the government literally flying an airplane over a small town and dropping something on them to kill all of them. I mean, to me, how could you stop that? To me, that's like the scariest thing on earth right there, man. But the zombies, oh please, I don't sweat zombies whatsoever. I think Will Smith worried about them way too much in I Am Legend. I mean, he was like scared of them or something, and I'm like, oh, bro, no, come on, man. Just have you ever seen one of these movies? Come on, Will.
Yeah,
you're right, bro.
Yeah, I mean, that's Will Smith for you. I mean, he's the one that smoked a cigar while he was trying to fight aliens and and he magically knew how to fly an alien freaking, UFO and Independence
it comes
Day.
to you. Didn't you know that? It just pops
Apparently.
in your mind.
Yeah, apparently. I mean, he flew it like nobody's business.
Well, look at the Avengers. Every one of them did the same damn thing. I mean, you know, how many people have been to space? Well, only half of us, but for some reason, they all knew what to do as soon as they got up there. And they knew how to fight a purple alien. I mean, you know, to me, that's like, how'd you know how to do that?
I mean, because they're the world's greatest heroes.
I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you, bro. There's something going on. I think Hollywood's trying to tell us something. I think Hollywood might actually be a bunch of aliens.
It could be.
Well,
we can always follow that Corey Feldman law. You know, I mean, I'm sure there's something to it.
I think I saw Corey Feldman on one of the late shows not too long back. Wasn't that like last year or the year before or something? It made all the headlines. I don't remember.
It was earlier this year, I believe.
Was it this year?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, there's 2020 for you. You know, you. But I tell you, I was like, man, I like Corey Feldman. You know, I grew up on the Goonies, man.
Yeah.
That stuff was the shit to me growing up, man. Come on.
Yeah, he's the one that came out with this movie this year that was, you know, supposed to profile all the stuff that him and Corey Haim went through as in the business as children and stuff like that. It was, yeah. I mean, it was called something about the rape of two Coreys or something like that. The molestation of two Coreys, or I don't know, but I never saw it, never watched it. And I'm kind of curious. I would love to talk to that man, though. I can tell you that much.
Oh, absolutely.
Woo!
Dude. That would be an interesting conversation. You know, it's one of those things, in my opinion, you know, that people want to act like they're so into saving stuff and all that. But, you know, as soon as you start talking about that, for some reason, you know, people start acting like it just doesn't exist. You know, I mean, it's like, no, it's real and it's happening a lot.
Yeah.
And way more than what people think. You know, I support a charity up in Tennessee. I mean, the office that I deal with up in Nashville is called Hope for Justice. And they literally go around and they rescue women and children that are being human trafficked. And the numbers that they've told me are just absolutely staggering. And people have no idea that stuff is, I mean, they know it's going on, but it's like they don't know to what degree until you actually hear those numbers. And this is, like I said, that's their Nashville office. And they've got offices in London and LA and different places like that, you know, but in the Southeast, that's the closest one to me. But, you know, I think that's something, man, that everybody should hear. You know, they need to hear about what's going on with children, man. This stuff is absolutely sickening.
Yeah, and actually, your PR people, Jimmy and Eileen, are actually in the process of producing a movie about that exact subject right now. So it's called Get Her, I believe it's called.
Yeah.
It's going to star Anthony Folicchio, I think his last name is. He's known as a stunt guy. This is like his first, you know, main lead acting role. But yeah, I mean, that is a movie that's in the works right now. I believe it's called Get Her. It's a human trafficking story. So that's right up, you know, exactly what you're talking about. So that's pretty awesome. Well,
the way I see it, dude, the more awareness, the better. You know, when it comes to that, if they're, you know, to me, it's a shame that you know, I totally agree that a lot of the issues that people are paying attention to today should be paid attention to 100%. It's just, to me, I wish that was one in particular that people would pay more attention to.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, if there's something to really be pissed off about, I mean, that's one of them.
I agree.
But, you know.
So enough with the Downey stuff.
I'm telling you, dude.
I know, right?
Let's get back to cracking jokes.
Yeah, no, right. So how's everything going with you, man? I mean, I know you've been in the studio, you know, writing and, you know, recording and stuff like that. I mean, with everything that's been going on, I mean, how have you coped with this as far as musically goes, especially since you can't perform as much as you used to?
It's been a challenge, especially when it first started happening. And you and I were talking about this a little bit before we went on the air. You know, it's just one of those things where you have to adapt and you have to cope. You can sit there and say, well, oh my God, woe is me, or you can get up and do something about it, you know? So luckily I had been live streaming for the past 6 years. So live streaming wasn't something that I suddenly discovered once COVID-19 came around. You know, and so I had been, you know, able to kind of transition from the live stuff into more of the live streaming, but I wasn't only doing that. I was doing a lot of studio work, and, you know, a lot of guys that I deal with outside of where I live were sending me tracks to work on with my vocals and everything. And because I'm primarily a vocalist, I was classically trained as a first tenor. And so, you know, I've been able to stay busy doing that kind of stuff. Had a few hiccups here and there. Back in the middle of August, I was in a pretty bad car accident. Some idiot ran a stop sign on me. You know,
Sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, you know, but that slowed me down just a little bit. But other than that, man, I've just been still ticking along, bro. I mean, there's always stuff to do. You just got to find other ways to do it sometimes. And I'm never one to just sit around for too long. So it sucks, but what do you do? You know, I tell you, nothing replaces a live performance.
Nope.
You know, absolutely nothing. I mean, and I know people want that stuff back. You know?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's
going to happen.
That adrenaline rush, you know, that you get from, you know, walking up on stage and that first initial roar of the crowd, and then, you know, having that crowd control to where you can control exactly what they do and how they do it and reaction that they, and, you know, when they do that and they give you back exactly what you're asking from them without even asking for it, just in your emotions and how you're saying things and the way you're acting, and then they give it back to you. It's just this feeling of euphoria that is unexplained. I mean, it is so beautiful. I know exactly what you're talking about, man.
It is, dude. And you know, describing it to people who haven't done it is sometimes a challenge, because I don't think they understand what that exactly feels like. You know, and I don't care whether you're an athlete or an actor or a musician, when you get to go out there in front of, you know, whether it be 100 people or 100,000 people. I mean, if they're into what you're doing, and even in other things too, you know, sometimes they want to heckle you. You know, you're a comedian, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
You know, so I mean, but still, that interaction with that crowd and the joy of actually getting people involved with what it is that you're doing, and these are oftentimes complete strangers. I mean, you know, to me, that's like one of the real testaments to human beings, man. The fact that we can go out and do that kind of stuff and, you know, deal with folks that we've never met before, share what we all have to offer, you know?
Yeah, it really truly is.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I mean, I've only been on stage once this year performing, you know, comedy, and it was still just, you know, magical. But then, you know, I think back to, you know, back in my wrestling days, or back in my music days, and it's just, you know, it's just.
Were you a wrestler, brother?
I was.
Come on now.
For 12 years.
I know all the poses, bro. I grew up on that stuff, man.
Yeah, I was actually a pro wrestler for 12 years until I got into a car accident in 2013 and broke my neck. So who was your favorite? Of all time?
Of all time. If I tell you what, because bro, you're talking to a wrestling connoisseur here, okay? So who's on your Mount Rushmore?
My four Mount Rushmore would have to be Edge, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart. Number 4.
Is that a tough one?
Stone Cold.
Stone Cold. Now, are you basing this off of the guys that you personally liked, or are you basing it off of technique, or what?
Yes, all of the above.
All the above.
But
okay.
I have a personal connection to Edge or Adam or whatever you want to call him.
Yeah.
Because I was trained in Ocala, Florida by Dory Funk Jr.
Sweet.
Who also trained him, and Edge came in for a few seminars, and I got to meet him one-on-one. Back in the day when it was that whole him, Lita, and Matt scandal.
Oh man, that was rough.
I met him. I met him and Matt at that same time. That was a different time, but so I have a personal connection to at least those two, and so you know, to see him, you know, Edge come back now, and oh man, it was back at the Royal Rumble. My heart was beating. I was like,
I hated that they didn't have a crowd there, man. I was like, oh man, he deserves a crowd. This is bad. It wasn't bad. I mean, the match was good, you know, but I was like, man, He needs a crowd.
Yeah, I mean, especially
I loved it at the Royal Rumble, but WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And I've been to several of those. I mean,
Me too.
so, they're great. If I had to pick mine, let's see. I mean, this podcast is an anything goes podcast, right? We're just shooting.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's see. If I had to pick my Mount Rushmore, I know some people probably wouldn't agree with this, so I'm going to mix it up a little bit between who I like, who I think was influential, whether you like them or not, and maybe some technique in there. So I got to give a nod to Flair. The Nature Boy. I got to.
Yeah.
Stone Cold, definitely, because man, when I was a teenager, bro, that stuff was. I used to sneak into my grandma's house to watch it because she was the only one in the family that had cable. But so I would go over there and watch that stuff. I would sneak out of my mom and dad's house late at night, and I'd go over there to my grandma's, and I would put a VHS tape in her VCR, and I'd hit the record button, then I would leave. And then when it was over, I'd go get it, and I'd go back home and watch it behind my, when my parents didn't know I'd snuck out of the house because my grandma lived right next door. My grandma was one of those ladies who never locked her door, and we grew up in one of those communities where you didn't have to.
Yeah.
But so Stone Cold, I'd probably have to go with. I got to give one to Sting. I was a big Sting fan.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because I mean, especially when he turned into the black and white crow Sting. I mean, I wasn't really a blonde surfer guy. And then I know he's controversial, but just for sheer influence on that industry, I got to give a nod to Hogan. He's probably an asshole. I don't know. I shouldn't even say that, to be honest with you, because I met him one time, and it was at his beach shop down in Florida. It was before WrestleMania. He had just opened up the new one in Orlando. And maybe he was playing a little PR catch up, because that was during the controversy and stuff like that. And I don't know, but the dude was incredibly nice, especially when I didn't want to talk to him about wrestling. I looked at him and I said, and I found out, because a buddy of mine used to run with one of his bands back in Clearwater.
Okay.
Back when he used to play bass guitar for a living. And he said, "Hey, brother, what kind of question do you have for the Hulkster?" And I said, "Well, I was just wondering what it was like playing at this venue." And I named a venue from the early 80s down in Clearwater. And he was like, "How in the hell do you know about that?" I said, let's talk music, Hulk, and the fact that he didn't have to talk wrestling just made him ecstatic.
Yeah.
So he had like a 15-minute conversation with me. And then there's the guys that I think I like them, but they would never be on a Mount Rushmore, like the Iron Sheik.
Yeah.
I love Sheik. I just do. And that dude is the funniest dude in the world.
Oh my God. And he is, he's full of, like, you give him a microphone and it is, especially nowadays that he's losing his mind even more. He just doesn't give a fuck.
He doesn't care.
He just doesn't care.
Dude, that interview he did on Howard Stern was the funniest shit I've ever seen in my life. He's like, Howard Stern had him convinced that he had the Ultimate Warrior on the show. And Sheik is flipping out because he thinks it's the Ultimate Warrior. I mean, he had to be like high, beyond belief. I don't know what his deal was. But he's sitting there yelling at this dude who was not the Ultimate Warrior. And he's like, "You're a freaking," calling him all kind of slangs and all that kind of stuff that I'm not going to repeat here on the air. He's like, "But I tell you what I do. I come over there, I break your back, and I'm making you humble." And I'm like, what in the hell is going on here? It was the funniest crap I'd ever seen. And I think that video went viral. I mean, that's what really put Sheik on the map after his wrestling career, was that Howard Stern interview. It was priceless.
Oh my God. Yeah. That guy. Oh.
And Haku, I would never try to fight Haku.
Haku works at a Toyota dealership in Orlando.
Yeah, I heard. And that dude could be 90 years old, and I would still not piss him off.
So the Toyota dealership and the Dodge dealership are right across the street from each other, and they go back and forth. The salespeople.
So you've been to this dealership?
Oh my God, yes! I pulled in. I had because I had a Dodge minivan at the time. This was when I lived in Orlando. This was 4.5 years ago when I moved up here. So right before I moved up here, I had to go in because I was driving up here. I went in for an oil change. I got all my shit done. And I'm sitting there waiting for my car. In walks fucking Haku.
That's hilarious.
And I'm like, I wanted to say something, but I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to sit right here, wait for my car, and just enjoy the day.
Dude, I mean, come on, man. Anytime you get to meet Haku, give me a break. I mean, to me, that would be, those types of things are too cool. You know what? I should have put Randy Savage on that mountain, too.
You only get 4, man.
I know there's only room for 4, but come on. I mean, you know, they're always talking about adding somebody onto it. So, you know, we could, I think there's like an honorable mention for the Macho Man there, you know?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely the Macho Man, but I don't know.
The Macho Man or the Macho King?
Oh, God, not the Macho King.
Oh, dude, come on. Sherry was awesome.
Yeah, I love Sherry. I mean, and the controversy around her death was really sad too. You know, and her and Elizabeth. You notice how both of the people that he, you know, are now dead, controversial. I'm just saying.
I know, dude. Dude, I tell you, I remember being a kid and watching the Macho Man Randy Savage tied up in the ropes, and Jake the Snake comes in there with that cobra.
Yep.
That, to me, you would never get that on television in 2020.
Oh, hell no.
No way. But little
Hell
kids
no.
were watching that. And for people listening, if they don't know, I mean, the Macho Man and Jake Roberts were in a feud, and non-wrestling fans are not going to give a crap about what I'm saying. But they were in the middle of a feud, and in this one spot, Jake Roberts brings this bag. He used to have like a big python in the bag. But he stopped with the python. He started bringing out this cobra. Yep. And this freaking cobra, of course, in real life, the cobra had been devenomized. Okay, it didn't have its venom glands anymore. But nobody at home knew that. I mean, you know, especially back in the early 90s, people weren't paying attention to that kind of stuff. You know, they were still convinced, some of them were still convinced that stuff was totally legit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was, I mean, because you saw the blood. He got,
you saw that part of it was legitimate. Now, it wasn't pumping venom into his glands, but I mean, to his veins, but still, you know, they, that part where that damn snake latched onto Randy Savage's arm, and it wasn't just holding it, it was freaking gnawing on it. Like, and it was, that. I was like,
and it was going back and forth too, and just kind of doing that dog hair.
And dude, when I was a kid, that shit gave me nightmares, bro. I was like, oh, this is terrible. I kept dreaming about cobras chewing on my arm. I mean, because you could literally see the blood like trickling off of his arm, like you said earlier. I mean, there was some crazy stuff back in those days, man. And when Papa Shango put the curse on the Ultimate Warrior, started, I was like, "You gotta be kidding me!"
Yeah, but looking back on it now, that is so fucking cheesy. Watch that if you go back and watch that shit now. Is. Oh my god,
it totally is, bro. But I don't know what it was about. Maybe we were just kids, but even the stuff when I was older. You know, like watching the NWO and all that kind of stuff. I mean, a lot of that stuff sounds cheesy today when you go back and watch it. But back then, man, that stuff was awesome. I don't know what it was. You know,
because it was the time. You know, back during the Monday Night, you know, Wars. You know, they were doing some edgy shit. I mean, what DX was doing and the corporate ministry, you know, Undertaker was fucking crucifying people on live TV every week.
Absolutely.
You know? I mean, and, you know, and then the NWO doing their thing. I mean, it was
do you remember
back and forth shit, man.
The funniest feud I think I ever saw, and this is, you know, it was so terrible going back and watching this now. Like bad kind of terrible. Not like, I mean, it was an awful thing to do kind of terrible, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But that feud that the Big Boss Man had with the Big Show when his dad died, and his dad wasn't really dead, but do you remember that?
Vaguely.
Dude, there was
I must have blocked it out.
No, bro, no, this was so awful. This was, there was a scene in this, and I'll never forget it. It was absolutely, so terrible. I got to find this real quick while we're talking about it. But supposedly in the storyline, Big Show's dad died. Okay. And so freaking Big Boss Man shows up at his dad's funeral and puts a chain around the casket and drags the casket across the cemetery with a car. And the Big Show.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got this like old Blues Brothers looking car with that big megaphone on the top of it.
Yep.
And at the end of it, man, I tell you, the end of it was the worst damn thing because the Big Boss Man comes out there and he gets the microphone. He's on the camera and he starts reading this poem to the Big Show. And at the end of the poem, he was like, if I had a son as ugly as you, I'd wish for cancer so I could die too. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe they put that on the air. It was the worst damn thing I've ever seen. You know, and like I said, back in those days, man, you could get away with stuff like that on television, but they would never put that on TV today.
Hell no.
Well, no, you know, people today are way more sensitive, but but the bottom line is it's like, I couldn't believe that one. It was funny, but I look back on it now, it shows you how much things have changed. Back then it was hilarious. Now I watch it and I'm cringing and I'm like, ugh, man, that was bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember the dragging of the casket now.
That was all. Do you remember when he fed Al Snow's Chihuahua to him?
I do remember that. Yep. but nothing compares to the Katie Vick storyline.
Oh, bro. Well, hold on. One thing might compare to Katie Vick. Not in absolute grossness, because that was absolutely gross. Actually, I don't know. This is pretty gross. When Mae Young gave birth to the hand. This woman is like 85 years old. And she's having a love affair with Mark Henry.
Yep.
And she gets pregnant, and everybody's waiting to see what she's going to give birth to, and a hand pops out. A freaking hand, like cousin, not cousin Ed, but Thing on the Addams Family.
Thing, yeah.
I'm like, and people wonder how you just sit there and watch this crap. But it's like, but it's one of those things. It's like Human Centipede. Once you start watching it, you just can't stop.
Cannot stop.
Even though after you've seen it, you don't even want to go look at your own mother. After watching that stuff, like I watched Human Centipede, dude, and I literally felt guilty about watching that afterwards. And my mom called me up later that afternoon, and I wouldn't answer the phone. I was like, I can't talk to my mother after watching that crap. I can't. That was the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. If I had to pick the worst movie, that one gets the nod, bro. Have you ever seen it?
I have not, and I will not.
Do not. Trust me on this. And you know what's so bad? I watched part 2. That was the worst thing. I mean, the fact that I knew part 1 was that terrible. And then I sat there and willingly watched part 2.
Yeah.
And then I thought, am I messed up?
Yeah. For that, yeah, I would, yeah.
Yeah, I did. I felt awful about that. I still do. And that was like 5 years ago.
Yeah, I've never I was like, I'm always on that, I'm always out to find the world's worst movie.
Oh, that's it, bro.
Yeah. But you know what?
Watch it,
but that one right there might be a completely different category. But if I find the world's worst movie, I think that would be like one of the highest grossing films ever. If you can find like just so bad you have to go watch it. But I don't think I think Human Centipede took it too far.
Bro, Human Centipede Part 1 took it too far. And somehow Part 2 managed to take it further. And I didn't think that was possible. But I swear to you, and let me make this, I'm going to make this pact right now with everybody watching, because I know some of my buddies are tuned in or they're going to watch it later. I give you all my word, I will never watch part 3.
There's a part 3?
There's a part 3, and I will not do it. I swear to you, I'll stake my career on it. I will never watch part 3. That was the absolute worst thing I'd ever seen in my life. And bro, I remember Howard the Duck. Okay. And this was worse than that.
Howard the Duck was phenomenal.
No, sir. No, sir. Because I'll tell you why. I remember Howard the Duck in the comic books.
So do I.
Howard the Duck was a feathered version of Deadpool. He was not nice and family friendly. There was nothing kind-hearted about Howard the Duck. He was like that little bear Ted, except in a duck form.
Yeah, but in the movie, he screwed Elizabeth. Was it Elizabeth Shue? Who was that?
No, it was. Oh man, what was her name?
The other one. They look a lot alike.
Yeah, they certainly do. Oh my God, I can't believe you asked me that. But I'll tell you this. Hold on one second. I'm about to find out. That's the power of Google.
I know, right?
Hold on, bro. I mean, I'm literally Googling this while we're here on the freaking.
Yeah, me too.
Howard the Duck.
It was Leah Thompson. Leah Thompson.
Yeah, there you go. See, I wish we had one of those dudes like, what's his name that Joe Rogan has? That he's like, hey, look that up.
I usually do. It's my old co-host Kat. She likes to come on.
Sweet, man. You got one of those.
But she's not there, and she's not here tonight.
That's okay. She can't be there all the time. But dude, I tell you, man, it's I watched that and I was like, yeah. I mean, I know the duck banged her, Leah Thompson, but it's like, or I don't know, did he actually do it? I don't think.
Yeah, there was a silhouette shadow in the background. Yeah.
See, to me that was about the most risque thing in that movie, and I'm glad they didn't show any of that. But the bottom line is, his character was so cheesy in that movie. It was nothing like Howard in the comics.
No, it wasn't.
And for that reason, I couldn't get sold on it, man. And I'm like a comic book nerd,
So am I.
I couldn't get into it, man. I was so afraid they were going to screw up Deadpool.
You know what? With Ryan Reynolds, I was not afraid.
Dude, because, but you know what? Ryan Reynolds is great, but he's still limited to what they allow him to do.
Yeah, but I remember it's been forever now, but a year or two before the release, when that leaked footage went out, which we know it was not leaked on accident. No. It was leaked on purpose. I still think Ryan Reynolds is the one who leaked it, but that's not here nor there. Yeah. But when that leaked footage went out and it was just all CGI, just his voice and shit like that, basically the first, scene of the movie, I was like, this is going to be a fucking amazing. And it held up. And I mean, it held up. I mean, and obviously they did a good job with it because of all the Fox characters, he's the only one that Disney is keeping.
Well, I read something yesterday that Disney wants to bring back Hugh Jackman as part of the multiverse. Like they don't want to bring him back permanently as Wolverine, but they're talking about doing the same thing with Spider-Man too. Where like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are going to both be in this one with Tom Holland.
Yeah, part 3. That's what the rumor is.
Which is kind of cool. I mean, if they're going to go into that multiverse, man, that's a hell of a way to make it real.
Yeah. But they're going to have to go into the multiverse because, we went from wrestling talk to nerd talk. I'm loving this. This is good stuff.
We're doing, man. Let's go. Hey, we're deciding to go in, man. Head first, bro.
So, with WandaVision, that's coming out later this year on Disney Plus as a TV show.
Sure.
They're going to have to do something. And even if you go back and you watch the teaser trailers on it, it shows them in the 1950s, the 1960s, the 1970s, going back and forth. And it looks almost like time travel, but at the same time, it might be multi-dimensions. But from what I understand, this television show sets up Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness movie, which is coming out next year or 2 years. So that TV show sets up that movie. So, and then being that Spider-Man 3 comes out immediately after that, they're going to have to continue that storyline. I mean, the multiverse is, something that's going to have to be explored. There's so many different levels and so many different things. It's going to have to be done.
Well, I think so too. I tell you another one I'm getting excited about is She-Hulk. I think that's going to be cool.
Did you hear who they cast for that?
I did, but I don't remember.
So there was a television show on BBC America called Orphan Black.
Okay.
She is the cast. Her name is Tatiana Maslany. And if you ever get a chance to go and watch just one episode of Orphan Black, it is amazing because she literally plays every character, different accents, different hair colors, different, facial, expressions. I mean, if you did not know better, you would literally think there was 4 different people on screen because just how different they were. She won Academy Awards and Golden Globes for her performances on that show. Just, she's a phenomenal actress, and I was so stoked to hear that she got that part because I think she's just going to crush it. Because it was between her and then the chick from Glow, and I guess they just went with her because name recognition.
Sure. I mean, which that happens sometimes. They what's your favorite MCU movie so far?
It's 100%. It's Endgame.
Endgame?
Endgame is actually my favorite movie of all time now.
I loved Endgame. Even though it wasn't MCU, I mean, it's still Marvel. But I love Logan. I thought Logan was great.
Yeah, Logan was great. That one was definitely up there. I mean, right along with, the first Deadpool movie too.
Yeah, I like part 2. I thought part 2 was great.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, dude, seeing Juggernaut the way he should look was awesome.
It was.
Because they totally screwed Juggernaut up in that other movie. What was I can't remember what movie.
Was it Days of Future? Was it Days of
No,
Future?
No, it was X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh, yeah.
Where Vinny something played him.
Yeah, well, they screwed up everybody in that movie because they also screwed up Deadpool in that one too.
Oh my God!
Let's go ahead and sew his mouth shut.
Yeah. Come on, Deadpool with a sewn mouth. What? I mean, I want those directors and producers had to be smoking some serious stuff on that one, bro.
Yeah, and that movie had potential too.
It had it. Yeah.
If you watch like the first hour, you're kind of like, okay, I kind of see what this is kind of gonna be good, and then it takes a left turn and just says, "Fuck you."
Yep, got completely ruined. Completely ruined. That's what they do with us, though, man. They string us along for a little bit and then they kick us right in the gut.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean. Fucking, but I'm glad, Fox is no longer producing movies for, Marvel. Fox Studios is completely dead, thank God. But,
I did like some of the casting of those people, though. I mean, like I liked the young Professor X, James McAvoy, wasn't that his name?
James McAvoy, yeah.
McAvoy, yeah. I mean, I liked him, and the guy who played younger Magneto.
Yeah. The casting was right.
Right. I mean, especially when the first one came out. I mean,
Yeah.
Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart, come on. Dude, let me tell you what, Ian McKellen, when you can claim the throne of Magneto and Gandalf, you're a badass. That's the way I see that. You nobody better mess with you. Because not only shall you not pass, but if he wanted to, he could bend an entire metal structure and kill you. I mean, that's awesome to me. You can fight dragons and you can bend metal. That's badass.
That's badass. It doesn't get much better than that. I mean, I don't know where you go from there.
No way, man. Gandalf and Magneto. Bro, if that was my career, I'd just quit right after that. I'd be like, I don't need any more roles. I'm good. Totally good.
Yeah, I mean, what has he done? I don't think he's done much since.
Well, he's getting. I mean, God, man, Ian McKellen's got to be up there now. I mean,
I know he did an episode of Family Guy.
I mean, when you can't go any further after your Magneto and Gandalf, I mean, Family Guy. There you go. I mean, I think I like Family Guy. I'm more of a South Park guy myself.
I am too, but I love Family Guy. I love South Park though. Did you watch last week's The Pandemic special?
I haven't watched it yet.
Me neither. So yeah,
I'm going to.
I am too.
Wait, man, I love those brothers on South Park.
Whew.
You know why I like those guys? Because I'm like very libertarian in the sense that I think they all suck, and that's what the brothers do for me. I mean, they literally go after everybody. They don't give a crap who they offend. They don't give one rat's ass, and they leave no stone unturned.
Yeah.
Every political side, every single person that could get offended, they try their damnedest to offend them. And I'm like, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, don't go after one or the other. Go after all of them, no matter who it is.
Yeah. And in the history of cinema and TV, they are the only pair of dudes, Trey Parker and Matt Stone, are the only pair of guys, only creators that have the balls big enough to cast George Clooney in a non-speaking role to play a fucking dog.
They damn sure did.
Yes, they did.
I forgot about that. I mean, I literally forgot about that.
I am a wealth of stupid human knowledge.
Dude, I mean, that's awesome stuff. I'm telling people right now they're watching the podcast right now, so I'm like communicating on the live chat and everything. So
That's
if you see me looking down, it's not that I'm not paying attention. I'm trying to interact with people here.
But yeah, I mean, oh God. And what was really great about them, you know, with like Team America, you know, and they basically offended all of Hollywood and got kicked out of SAG, and anyone that was a SAG member was banned from going onto that show for a certain period of time. I can't remember how long it was. And
dude, that was the greatest damn thing I ever saw.
Oh my God. But then they turned around and said, you know what, fine, we're going to go ahead and we're not going to write another movie. We're going to go ahead and write the greatest fucking Broadway show of all time and sweep at the fucking Tony Awards like they fucking did. Geniuses.
Dude,
geniuses.
I loved it. And that movie also had the greatest what I considered like one of the most outstanding Hollywood definitions of the world. If you remember. That's right. Because we're dicks. The Screen Actors Guild, pussies. And Kim Jong-il is an asshole. And that thing they did at the end of that was the most priceless thing I'd ever seen in my life. I was like, oh my God. These guys went there and they didn't give a crap. Again, they offended everybody.
Yeah. And they just don't care.
They didn't care. I mean, you know, that's why I always say there. And there's stuff, you know, look, I got my personal views on things, okay? You know, so yeah, there's some episodes of stuff like South Park. I'll look at it and I'll be like, ugh, you know, that's rough. But it's okay. You know, I think that's what more people should realize today is it's okay to be offended. Get over it.
Yes. That is actually one of my things, especially as a stand-up comic.
Oh my God, dude, man, I hate that they're going after stand-up comics like they are.
Yeah,
you know,
I mean, they just don't. You know, there was an episode of God, it was a while back, maybe not even that long ago, but there was an episode of a Family Guy where Brian tweeted a joke as he was going to see a movie, and everyone lost their shit over the joke. It was, you know, it was him going to see either Baywatch or some Dr. Dre, Kevin Hart movie. Well, I can't remember what the name of the movie was, but he made the joke, going to see whatever name, whatever the name of that movie was. Oh, never mind, I'm white, or, you know, just something, you know, something stupid like that. I can't remember what the exact joke was, but people lost their freaking minds. And at one point, you know, the kids, you know, Meg and Chris started getting picked on, and Chris was like, it was just a joke. And these kids go, well, we live in a post-joke society.
A post-joke society?
A post-joke society.
I didn't even know there was such a thing.
But apparently there is, because we're living in that joke, you know, that society now, to where, you know, you can't even make the slightest little jokes. You know,
that's why I love Bill Burr. Because Bill Burr, he's like those South Park brothers, man. He don't give a crap.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that Philadelphia rant?
I believe I have, yes.
Dude, that's the most priceless thing I've ever seen. He's part of I think it was an Opie and Anthony tour they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes out there, and they were in Philadelphia, and Philly can be a harsh crowd. I've played in Philly numerous times. They will let you know quickly if they don't like you.
Oh yeah.
And they were booing every comedian. And Bill Burr gets up there and he tries to start his routine and it just doesn't work. And they are booing the crap out of him. And the next thing you know, he drops everything and just starts wailing on these people. And he's like, oh, F you, what the hell, you people absolutely suck. He's like, I hope your mothers all get herpes in the butthole. I mean, he's just going off on them something terrible. And it's the worst thing you ever heard. And he's like, look at you people, you Philadelphia people. He said, you people have Joe Frazier, yet you have a statue up of a freaking little midget Italian that doesn't even exist. I mean, he went off on Rocky and everything. He was just blasting them. And these are not my words. These are things that he was saying. And then at one point he goes, fuck the Flyers and fuck the Liberty Bell. And I'm like, the Liberty Bell. And by the end of this thing, he had offended these people so much that they started laughing at it.
Yeah.
And they gave him a standing ovation at the end of it. And I was like, see, that's what they wanted. They wanted to be roasted.
Well, I mean, look, if you want to go, I mean, look at the Philadelphia crowd. I mean, whenever wrestling goes there, too.
Oh, man.
If it's not, tables, ladders, chairs, and blood and guts and everything else in between, they hate it.
Dude, ECW, bro.
Yeah, I mean, that's that city. I mean, whether it's comedy, whether it's wrestling, whether it's, hockey, whatever the case might be, if it's not in your face, beat the shit out of you, they don't care.
Yeah, brotherly love my ass.
Yeah, I know, right? but I mean, yeah, I mean, I've done a few Zoom comedy shows, and it's like, I'll be sitting there listening. It's like, with cancel culture the way it is and all this other stuff, I'll see this couple or this person that it's like, oh shit, I'm about to make a joke about this race, or I'm about to make a joke about this or that. I mean, and I'm like, am I going to offend these people? And it's just like, shit. Okay, I'm just going to turn their camera off so I can't see them, or I'm going to minimize my screen, tell this joke, and just hope for the best, because it's like, it's so messed up. Because I mean, like, what was acceptable 10 years ago, you can't get away with it, and these people just are so don't even give you an opportunity to explain yourself. It's it's like, I'm part Middle Eastern. My great grandparents came over here from Syria, and I make a joke about being Syrian in my joke, in my set, and it's pretty offensive, but it's like, it's my culture, it's my family, it's my race, and sure. I've caught shit for it almost every time. It's like, but you're white. No, I'm part Middle Eastern. I have heritage, bud. I know my history, yeah. and it sucks. It really, really does. Well,
yeah. Here's the way I see it, man. Look, I do believe that you should have tact. I mean, I don't agree that people should just be able to, okay, let me rephrase this. I believe personally in free speech. I think free speech is the answer to true freedom, in my opinion. I think if you don't like something somebody's saying, no matter how bad it is, you don't have to associate with that person and let them crawl back in their own hole of misery.
Yep.
And be a lonely son of a bitch. I mean, that's the way I see it. But at the same exact time, I really wish, like I said earlier, it's okay to be offended. It's totally okay. And if you don't agree with someone, that's fine. You don't have to agree with them.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's going on these days, man. People are like, if you don't agree with me, then I'm going to take you down. And it's like, oh my God, who cares?
Yeah.
I don't have the energy to freaking put up with my own life sometimes, much less give a crap what the hell you think.
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to making jokes, whether it's on stage or in real life, and you're dealing with sensitive subjects, I feel if you play on stereotypes and stereotypes alone, that's the line. But, going and saying, racial slurs or, stating stuff that's just straight up racist, that's wrong. But, playing with exactly. No, but playing with the stereotype is, it can have it be kind of funny. Like, for example, going back to Family Guy, there was an episode, they were walking down the street and there was a car accident and the car was abandoned. And Peter goes, "Oh, I hope the Asian's okay." It's like, playing, on the fact that Asians can't drive. It's nothing crazy. It's one of those, it's not horrible. It's not great either, but it's like, okay, that's something that can, but that would be, if I went and told that joke up on stage, I would get fucking booed out of the arena. And it's sad.
Oh, dude. Oh, we're about to take this conversation full circle. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Get ready to be like, I don't know. You might be disgusted at this. My girl Sandy is she's in the chat room right now. She didn't say this in the chat room, but she just texted me and she said that her Mount Rushmore of wrestlers would be Seth Rollins, Seth Rollins, Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins. What in the absolute hell? I mean, see, she wasn't a wrestling fan.
I've never banned somebody before.
You about to ban her out of the chat room, dude? That's hilarious.
I'm just
no, dude, that'd be hilarious. No, but no, I mean, it's like she never had watched much wrestling or anything. She wasn't a fan. And I remember I took her to WrestleMania for the first time. And I created a monster, bro. She's like totally hooked on wrestling now. She loves it so damn much. And she and I like going to these events and everything. We have such a great time. But I remember the first time she saw Seth Rollins. From that moment on, she was like, that's my future boyfriend. I'm like, that guy? Really? Huh?
Yeah.
The Monday Night Messiah? What?
Yeah. And it pisses me off, the fact that he got one of the hottest chicks in all of wrestling too.
Oh, Becky Lynch.
Oh my God. When she first came on the scene, I was,
but and only wrestling fans would get this, but is she the man in that relationship?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, I think so too.
Oh yeah.
And I guarantee you somebody watching is going to be like, what's that supposed to mean? Her nickname is the man. That's what she calls herself in wrestling. Okay. So let's clarify that, before somebody gets offended.
Yeah. I would definitely say Seth is definitely the bitch in that relationship.
Oh yeah, totally, dude. Becky Lynch wears the pants in that one, bro. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind. And if Becky says jump, he says how far, baby? How high should I jump for you?
Oh yeah.
And would you?
Hell, for her? Hell yeah.
Yeah. But I got to be real though. I mean, like I'm one of those kind of guys, and I love how this went from wrestling to comics to being offended about every damn thing, and now we're back on wrestling. But I like how I like the ones that are believable. Like I like Brock Lesnar. I like Ronda Rousey. Because I know that in a legitimate situation, they would probably be able to kill somebody.
Yeah.
And to me, like back in the day, I loved Ken Shamrock.
I was never a Shamrock fan.
See, I loved it. I don't think WWF back then, WWE now, but I don't think they used him correctly. But anyways, nice way to come back full circle an hour later.
But yeah, Seth Rollins.
Oh man, I've enjoyed this podcast seriously, because it's almost every podcast I do, of course, it's the stereotypical, not all of them. I mean, I've been on some good ones, especially here, past few months, and but they all want to talk about but they all want to talk about music and stuff, like constantly, which I know that's like kind of the purpose of bringing a musician on. But it's like I told you when I started talking to Hulk Hogan about bass guitar and he didn't have to talk about wrestling.
Yeah.
He was ecstatic about it, just to have a different kind of conversation.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole idea behind my show. I mean, I like having conversations outside of what you're typically known for. Pulling back the curtain, because then a year from now, when you drop a kick-ass song and, they go back and listen to this, conversation, it's like, okay, almost like they can relate to you because they're seeing a different side of you and they don't normally see. And that's what I love about my platform. And I think I can attribute that to my massive growth over the last 6 months too.
Dude, I mean, I was looking at everything, man. You got some good stuff going on. Seriously. Oh, hold on. Sandy says she would not leave me for Seth Rollins.
Okay.
Well, thank God.
But my wife might leave me for Randy Orton.
Randy Orton? What?
Every time that motherfucker comes on the screen, my wife goes, Randy makes me Randy.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Dude, I let's see. Sandy likes Seth Rollins. She likes the guy who played Loki, Pendleton.
Tom Hiddleston, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And she likes Doctor Strange, the guy who played him.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
And she likes Lucifer.
What's his name?
I can't remember.
Sam something.
I can't remember.
Nellis something. I can't think of his name. Damn it! I was on a roll.
Oh, man. Yeah, bro. I'll tell you though, this has been a lot of fun, man. I really appreciate it. Seriously,
hey, dude. I mean, it's all about just having fun. I mean, I don't have a format really. Tom Ellis, by the way.
Tom Ellis. That's it. That's
yeah.
it.
But I just enjoy having fun and getting to the heart of stuff and just joking around and having a good time. I mean, yeah. I mean, because otherwise it's going to get boring and monotonous.
Life's too short, bro.
Exactly. I'm not going to reach 1 million listeners from my 600,000 that I have now by having the exact same interview every fucking day. I'll probably drop off of my 600,000 if I continued that way. No way.
Yeah, well, I tell you, man, you're doing great, dude. Seriously, and I can absolutely see why. This is a fun podcast, and it's been a real privilege to be on it. So thank you for having me. Seriously.
Hey, it's my pleasure, man. So we haven't talked about it, but let's go ahead and just at least try to plug something that you got going on. At least,
Sure.
Do you have any new music coming out? You dropping any singles or EPs? I mean, what do you got going on?
I can't talk too much about the upcoming single, but there is one coming, and I will say that I recorded this at Capitol Records out in Los Angeles. This is back before the pandemic, and we're kind of wrapping everything up on that here in the near future, and we're going to get that out. So, check my website, thomasclaxton.com, for upcoming information about that. I released an album not too long back called Age of Propaganda.
Yep.
And this was before the pandemic and before a lot of the controversy and everything started up. So, that album, the title of it, Age of Propaganda, was actually appropriate, and it turned out to be very true. Because, and what I meant by that was, if you turn on the television these days, depending on what side you prefer to listen to, I don't think you can avoid propaganda to some extent in any form of radio, television, or anything. I mean, it's all out there, and people do listen to a lot of information. And unfortunately, the reality of it is a lot of it's wrong.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So I released that album, and the album won some awards, and some of the singles that I put out on that album won awards out in Los Angeles at the IMC Awards and the RMA Awards. And, so the album did well. And I'm looking forward to getting this upcoming single released very soon. I just wrapped up another project that I'm going to be releasing in the very near future. I mean, I'm talking like the next couple weeks, that I worked on with Scott Page from Pink Floyd.
Yep.
Stephen Perkins from Jane's Addiction, Fabrizio Grossi from Supersonic Blues Machine, and he played with Steve Vai. Eric Frampton from the B-52s and Mother's Finest, and Grammy Award-winning guitarist Larry Mitchell. We all worked up and Roberta Freeman, who was a vocalist touring on back in the day with Guns N' Roses and Pink Floyd and groups like that. Amazing singer. We all did this version of Us and Them by Pink Floyd that we're going to be releasing very soon. a lot of like collaboration video, you know. So we're gonna put that out here in the next couple of weeks. We're looking forward to that. And basically, that's where a lot of my time has gone. You know, working on my personal projects, man. I've just been enjoying it.
So wait a minute. You covered a song of Pink Floyd with a former member of Pink Floyd. That
That's right.
is stellar. And
Dude,
Scotty is such
Scott's
a, oh my God, man. I had him on 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And that guy is just phenomenal. I love that guy.
He's got so much information, man. Just so much information. It's insane.
Yeah, and not just about music, business, you know.
Absolutely. Oh my
history.
God,
The guy is just, whew. Yeah, that guy's a wealth of knowledge. Wealth of it.
But yeah, I mean, you know, people can find out more about that information on those releases on the website, thomasclaxton.com, and look me up on YouTube. I'm working on the YouTube stuff right now, and my Sitting In with Thomas Claxton podcast is available on there. And, you know, you can go to facebook.com/Thomas Claxton Music and find all that information, you know, for any projects I'm involved in.
Absolutely. You can also follow him at Thomas Claxton _music on Instagram or TClax _music on Twitter.
That's right.
But I appreciate, man, you have this was a great conversation.
I bet you didn't see it going in that direction, though, did you?
You know, the direction that we go, I never have a plan for. So wherever it goes, I'm happy. And this was definitely a fun nerding out, you know, conversation that I haven't had in a while. So I appreciate that.
Well, tell me this: has there been a guest on yet that talked about wrestling and comic books?
Yes.
Really, wrestling?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So
great.
there's another podcaster who I'm become friends with, and I'm sure you'll eventually be on his show as well. His name is Mark McCleary, and he runs a podcast called Tatnus Podcast. Tatnus.
Great.
And him and I talked for like 2.5 hours, and it was a long ass show. And we talked everything from wrestling to music to comic books to mixed martial arts. I mean, we talked the gambit.
That actually makes me happy to know that people are still having wrestling conversations in 2020. I thought it's taken such a hit since I was a kid, you know. And I hate when people look at me and go, "It's fake." Yeah, no shit. You know, give yourself a pat on the back, you know, for figuring out that it's choreographed.
Yeah, I mean, did you know the movies aren't real too?
Yeah, right. Did you think Thanos really snapped his finger and killed half the population? Come on. You know, I hate when people tell me obvious stuff. You know, that just makes me like irritated. So it's like, you know, come on. And fake, man, I tell you, that's such a harsh word for it anyways. I mean, you know, those dudes, I'd love to see most people go out and do what those dudes do.
Yeah.
Or the girls, man. I mean, it's some insane stuff.
I lived 12 years, man, and I would love to go back and do it again. However, you know, my neck is gonna never let me do that kind of stuff again. But you know, I miss it, but at the same time, man, I have some fond memories of going through tables and hitting over the head with a chair, or you know, just everything. I loved it, every minute of it.
Absolutely, man. But you know, hey, to be able to go through that, bro, it was probably a hell of a journey.
It was. It really was. But again, man, you're an awesome human being, man. And I cannot wait to hear what you got coming out soon, and your new music, your new single and stuff like that. I'll definitely be watching out for it. And if you ever need anything, man, just let me know. But I definitely want to have you back one day.
Thank you for having me, my friend. I greatly appreciate you.
Not a problem, man. You have a wonderful rest of your day, and then keep safe.
Thank you, brother. Talk to you soon.
You too, man. Bye-bye. All right, guys. And that is Tuesday. What a great fucking day it's been. I can't complain. So come back tomorrow, 8 p.m. East, 5 p.m. West, for another fun-filled, action-packed episode of Suck It. But until then, stay happy, stay healthy, and as always, stay fucking heavy. Peace.